Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the Smart Home Collective. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Gio from Smart Home Makers and Dave from Creative. Guys, how are you doing?
All good. How about yourself?
Doing lovely. And guys,
yeah,
Dave, you got a front-facing camera, so we're seeing this lovely ESP32 with a wee...
That's a bunch of D1 minis in a pile because one of my unofficial titles on my playlist is what can I put a D1 mini in next? So it's kind of my theme.
I love it. I love the mouth moving thing. Love it.
Yes, SOBS is just a little graphic equalizer thing.
Very, very cool. Great. So guys, thanks very much for joining me. Before we crack on with the show, I'm delighted to announce that I've got a partnership recently established with Mind Your Mindset. Mind Your Mindset is a new brand. It's a fantastic brand that's just kind of set up within the UK, and it's all about positive mental kind of thinking and kind of manifestation of what you want, setting your goals. So it's a new company. It looks to cultivate a healthy, positive and driven mindset to allow you to achieve and your goals. It focuses on gratitude, setting positive goals and benefits of journaling and positive affirmations. It was recently featured in Fern Cotton's Gratitude and Wellbeing Festival. So it's really, really up and coming. I absolutely love it. They're coming with a whole lot of new products. So check them out. And their Instagram is mind_your_mind_set. So if you're listening to this purely in the audio, I apologize. That's quite a mouthful. Mind_your_mind_set. All right, Mind Your Mindset. Go and check them out.
Cool.
All right, straight into the content, guys. So, Gio. So, I reached out to Gio, and I'm going to actually pull up Gio when I first reached out to you, because this is another example of how bad I am reaching out to somebody and then finally getting them on the channel. And James called out to me on the last episode, and I'm going to say my chat. Gio, I think I reached out to you a year and a half ago.
Yeah, potentially, yeah. I thought I did something wrong. I think
it was at the very beginning when I was. Yeah, I think it was maybe more. I'm sure it was right at the back of the beginning when I was setting the podcast up. You're one of the channels I think was relatively newish. I loved what you're doing. I thought, right, I'm going to get this going. I reached out to you, said, yeah, let's get it going. And fucking never happened. That's down to me. So apologies. But in that time, you've grown pretty hugely. I think you're now almost 17,000. Let me just ping your channel up, actually. 17,600 subscribers. So pretty hefty.
Yeah, so for
crazy.
some. I'm struggling here.
So how it's grown fast in that time to 17,000. I mean, it's grown. I'm kind of scrolling all the way back here. So how long has it actually been going up since you kind of set the first video out? And in your mind thought, right, I'm going to create this channel. And where did you think it was going to go to?
Well, it's very difficult. Just to let everyone know, month one, I think I had 23 subscribers, if not, or 33. I can't remember the exact number. So it took like 3 months to get to 100. And that was like, and I think like the quality increase. I see a lot of people that start and they have a much better quality than I had at the beginning. Some of them even better than what I have currently, right? So I guess it depends really on the video making skills, the content, getting the right mix of both. But my one was, there was the little smart home set that just came out in the UK. That was the video that sort of got me thinking that it could have been a thing.
Yeah.
So that was a big one for me. That sort of changed my mindset as, this is sort of can happen.
And it was
Gio's done. I was going to say Gio's done really well, actually, because I found his channel. It was about 18 months after I started mine. And as you say, you had very few to start with, and you've just grown. You've overtaken my channel within the first year. Really impressive stats there, Gio. Well done.
Well, thanks a lot, and thanks to everyone that actually subscribed and everyone that viewed. Yeah, it's truly an honor.
To be fair, it was you that got me into the little products. The minute I saw your videos going out, I was straight to the local Lidl, bought as many bulbs as I could out.
Yeah, I've yet to try those bulbs, actually. I've got some Athon bulbs here, but the little ones seem to be cheaper and easier to get as well, because Athon is a Chinese company, so it takes a while to get here.
Where'd you get the Athon ones from? I've never heard of them.
I got some plugs from AliExpress and also from the Athon website as well. I did both to see which ones got here quicker. And funny enough, AliExpress got here quicker than Athon themselves.
So, Gio, before we move on to Dave's channel, I mean, it's 7. I almost say I'll say 17. It's really 18,000. Did you, when you set out, did you think, right, I know where I'm going, or was it just a case of let's just grow and see what I get?
Well, for those of you that don't know, the channel name actually changed. So if someone goes and rewatches the first videos, there's a completely different channel name because it was a completely different purpose. And then so at the beginning it was like more like I wanted to do my Plex and do that's media conversion coverage and that stuff because I'm quite into that. But then I started smart home and I got more into that and found Home Assistant, and then the channel took off from that direction. But actually, yeah, little curiosity, I actually got a letter from a lawyer telling me that the name was like in conflict with something, and I was like, oh, this is serious. So
oh, wow.
I'm not actually, yeah. So I had to like rebrand, and then at that point, I was like, this is a disaster because I was thinking after being the progress that I made at that point, this was like
calling yourself Home Assistant probably wasn't a good idea.
No, it wasn't Home Assistant, but it was a name. It was a name that I want to. Basically, the letters basically said if you don't use it anymore going forward, it's fine. You don't really have to. But it was like 100 subscribers. It was ridiculous. I don't know how they found me and they complained, but anyway, that was a bit of a funny story.
And if you don't divulge the name, that's fine. But was it a big brand that came after you?
No, it wasn't, and it didn't have anything to do with what I was actually doing. But the name, so it was a free name channel name, right? And 2 of the names were exactly the same, and it was just a coincidence. But if you did look on Google, there was a point that you could have mistaken. So they had a point. It was my, being a noob and being just, uploading stuff and not thinking about this whole naming and legal stuff, which. Yeah.
But to be fair though, that's not something. Listen, when you set, when I set up the Smart Home Collector, I didn't go scouting to see right. Well, you do a quick Google on YouTube. Does anybody have that name? No, right? It's pretty safe. But you don't think someone's going to give you a letter of litigation to say you to go over it?
Well, hence the Leonardo's, because the whole point of that is that it's more, it's someone's name, right? It's not like a thing. And I didn't want to use my own name because my own name is a bit more difficult. I don't know why. I picked with this. I stick with this. So the actual domain where the blog is has that as the full domain.
Got you. Right, okay. Well, there you go. Learn something new every day. Brilliant. Right, Dave, let's get you. Let me just ping up your...
Yeah, I was going to say, you'll get the... you get the talking D1 really. You might see my hands later if you're lucky. no face facing camera.
Yeah, I must have that. When we agreed to come on, Dave, I was thinking, finally, I'm going to get to see what this guy looks like.
Yeah, the mask tutorial maker will be revealed.
So I know you're laughing saying it over to you, but I mean, 6,000 views, nothing to be scoffed at, Dave.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the last year I've got 1,000 more subscribers, so I'm very thankful for that. I appreciate every one of them.
And the name 380 then, so is there, because that's obviously, you're saying your company's name, is that, was that name just, I'll just use the same name, or what was the background for that?
Well, the thing was, I was doing 3D animation and visual effects, hence the 380 VFX studio that was originally called. The name comes from the amalgamation of 3D or the 3 from 3D, and creative. So it's 3ative. So sounds like creative. It's made of like 3D and stuff. Obviously, I do semi-commercial work. I've got a range of clients, including a couple of marketing companies. So not everything I was doing I could put on YouTube. But there was some stuff. I was making some 3D animation tutorials. And then I got into Home Assistant. And I thought, well, wait, let's pay this forward. Let's make some tutorials. And they seem to be quite popular. So that's all my channel is now. Hence the home automation projects at the bottom of my original banner at the top there, because I've added to it.
Okay.
But yeah, no, the Home Assistant stuff, home automation stuff is... I'm absolutely loving it. I mean, I'm an electronics engineer anyway, so getting the D1 Mini, getting the soldering iron out as often as possible, has always been a hobby of mine. And of course, this Home Assistant stuff is growing in popularity. Home Assistant is definitely the way to go for not so much commercial, but definitely a hobbyist and a DIY solution for home automation. So I thought, okay, I've got some knowledge here. I've got maybe some interest. Maybe someone would enjoy my little projects that I do. As I say, I've got an unofficial title of what can I put a D1 Mini in next.
Yeah.
So as often as I can, I'll put a £1.50 Wi-Fi enabled microcontroller in pretty much everything I've got, and everything I can find on Amazon as well.
I must admit, your channel certainly get that kind of when you get that tinkering itch. Go to your channel and fucking just fill your boots.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think when we first started speaking, it was the Centratron that I first came across.
Yeah.
Who's this guy done put really in a spray in his room? Really? Fantastic. And ever since then, I was hooked.
Thank you. Yeah, I had I was living with a girl a few years ago, and she had one, but I never knew where it was. And of course, I don't sleep much at night, so she'll go to bed about 9, 10 o'clock at night. I'll be up to about 3 o'clock in the morning, and every now and then I'd hear this, and I think, what the hell's that going on? And then I found out what it was. I thought, what a great idea. And then a few years later, found one on Amazon. I thought, I wonder if I could put a D1 Mini in that. So I bought it, and yeah, the rest is history.
Love it. I absolutely love it. Fantastic. And in terms of so I mean, you gave the background of how it started. Has it got to where, because it's evolved in the fact it's now all about the tinkering, the Home Assistant integration, ESPs, etc. What's next, creative? I
would like to see. This is something I'm looking into when I get spare time. It's quite a difficult subject. I would like to see some sort of AI in this home automation setup, because certainly a lot of the projects that I'm doing and a lot of the projects that I'm seeing other channels doing, there seems to be less automation, or doesn't seem to be as much automation as a home automation system sort of implies. There's a lot of remote control, and I know we're going to talk about the NS panel later, but yeah, I would rather not touch a light switch. If I can make it a light automatic with a motion sensor or a presence detection, then that to me is an automation system. And writing automations, getting the triggers going, getting certain conditions set up. I would like to see some sort of AI that you just plug everything into. So you say, here's all my lights, here's all my devices, here's all my sensors. Watch me for a week, learn my routines, my habits, etc. Times I go to bed, times I go out, and so on. And then just do what I would normally do without me having to tell an Amazon device or press a button or touch a touchscreen. That to me, I think, would be the pinnacle of a home automation system, like an intelligence behind it. I'd like to see that.
You need to have a chat with Jeff from Slacker Labs. Jeff doesn't want to touch anything, doesn't want to. Well, I think he's changed his mind in the dashboard recently, but yeah. Jeff is very much just, he wants his house living and breathing, and you're right. That's
absolutely, yeah.
Are we there? Nah.
Oh, years, decades away. I mean, AI is a burgeoning technology. it's got some real potential, and some of the stuff that it's already been applied to. So I think as that becomes more mainstream, easier to program, more models being released online, I think it could be something that us lowly DIYers could implement. Maybe some sort of machine learning box that you could attach to your network, and it pulls in all your sensors and pulls in all your devices and stuff. And then, over time, it will learn your individual personality and so on. So, yeah, I mean, fingers crossed. The future is bright.
So that's a big fingers crossed. Brilliant. Moving on then. So I love when I get people on, I love to understand what kind of what's under the hood of their smart home. For you guys, obviously it's Home Assistant, so I'm not going to ask the obvious questions. But if there's anything else, Gio, come to you. If there's anything in your home or your smart home setup that you couldn't live without, what would it be?
Well, live without is a tough word. I mean, they're all luxuries. I mean, let's start maybe with this point. I mean, I don't think smart homes got to a point it's really necessity for people, like broadband is. Which basically now it's a necessity. It might get there when it's that predominant. But for me, the light switches are fantastic. I have the Sonoff Wi-Fi ones, and I found them very reliable. Worked tremendously fine, and it's really the test over time, which you can't really do many reviews of. You have a new product, you put it on, how reliable is it going to be, right? From the functionality wise of using it through a Home Assistant or any way, right? Any automation that you have. And the actual maintenance. So anything that has low maintenance, I'm a fan of. Anything that's durable over time, I'm a big fan of. So I'm sort of a less tinkerer. I know we have more people that are more tinkerers, but I just get annoyed when you have to fix your home. It just takes time out of new projects. So I would say that stuff is sort of the stuff that I like. Would be the things I would automate first or put in first in a new house. The light switches for 100%.
And it's funny because that's the first thing people normally they start with, either the light switches or the light bulbs, because it's the standout obvious.
Yeah,
the
light bulbs,
the most convenient one.
Yeah, I mean, I think the light bulbs is the most common mistake where people start, right? They get the light bulb in, and then they start figuring out that they can't. Someone turns the switch off and the light bulb doesn't work, and people get frustrated with it and find it pointless. So yeah, that's it. But obviously it involves more work, physically wiring or not. You have to sort of intervene in some sort of way. That's the sort of thing I would recommend.
Okay. You said you're not a tinkerer, but I sometimes find that when people go down the rabbit hole of Home Assistant, they inherently become in some way a bit of a tinkerer. Have you ever tinkered with ESP32s and like that, or are you still just off the shelf devices? Well,
yeah, I'm from a hardware point of view off the shelf because I lack the skills, not because I don't have an interest in it. But from a software point of view, there have been many automations or things that I've done on the channel that are completely pointless. They're just for fun. They just don't do anything. One was pulling a feed and announcing your bank balance when it moves, or crazy stuff that it makes no sense. Actually, I wouldn't recommend you do that because it's not good to announce your bank balance in the house. But just things that you just do it because you can, right? Because Home Assistant enables you is easy-ish, or doing number plate recognition and potentially, insulting people if they're parking your parking bay, just stuff like that, which is fun but not that functional unless you want all your neighbors to hate you.
And after 2 years of running the channel, I'm sure you've loading. You probably got, like me, a wardrobe and boxes full of just smart home stuff. Is there anything missing? Is there anything you've still not got, or that you would like, or what do you feel still lacking from it?
Well, I've got a Shelly LED, you know, the one with the LED for the LED light strips. I've had that since Christmas, and I need to install it. Got a couple of things I need to install. I'm trying not to get more than that. I have a box of stuff that I need to either try or put in, install. And I would like adopt a strict policy. Like if I don't get them in a year, they're out, or I sell them or give them away. I don't know. Because if not, it just becomes an over accumulation of, and you know, of stuff. Then sort of doesn't really fit in. It just because it becomes annoying. Like one thing I just want to say, like if you go to any manufacturer's website, they promise the world. Like look at those images, those happy people on the sofa with the lights on, and it's like, and they're just selling you this dream about, yeah, buy our light bulbs or buy this sensor, and then everything will be fine, and we'll know the dog goes out. But that's a lie. You pick. No, not you know, hating on any brand. Just pick on it, look at it, and you feel. But we're not there.
There you go. I've just put up the Shelly website. Shelly's light your feelings. It's got a nice glass. What the fuck is a glass and a drink? But
if you look at some of the less geeky stuff, like the HomeKit enabled products, right, which are more commercial, more, you know, for the wider public. That's sort of what people think of my home when they know that I have a small home. That's what they think, that there's some sort of like special library thing. But yeah, you know, some of it, you know, got batteries to change because these little sensors have batteries. Some of them drop out of your Wi-Fi. You know, the Zigbee network, some days works, some days doesn't. Things drop off, they're unavailable. You know, there's whole sort of things that you have to do that like no one else really could do at home. So those are the things that like bring me to think this is still a hobby for geeks like us and people that are listening. Like, you know, get my wife to do it, she'll probably have no clue. I don't know, she'll just chuck everything away if anything happens. I don't know what she'll do with us. So
yeah, it's a fair point. How does it move away from being a hobby? Because this is probably showing my age for some viewers or listeners. When the internet first came out, it was for geeks. Like, if you're really honest about it, like, but it evolved. Obviously, maybe a bit of a silly comparison. But at what point does the smart home stop being a hobby and is actually so mainstream that it becomes a necessity for everybody to have? And Dave, I don't know what you've any thoughts on that? Because it is still very hobbyist. If I speak to people in work or friends about my smart home, it's like, oh yeah, tell me about that. But you're almost, people kind of raise their hand. What does a smart home do for you?
I mean, I've noticed that every time, like taxi drivers and friends and stuff, I've spoken to them. I'll be on the way home and I'll go, oh, I've just turned the heating, and they go, how do you do that? And I show them a smartphone, and there's my home assistant control panel. And yeah, it would be nice if it was more plug and play. There's a lot of DIYing and not so much tinkering, but there's a fair amount of setup that I don't think the man on the street would have the time or the inclination to learn how to do. There's a fair learning curve, and I think if it's to become more ubiquitous and more standardized, then I think it needs to be, you buy a device, you give it an ID, or flip some switches to your particular code, and it just connects and it just does what you want it to do or what you expect it to do. There's less of that at the moment because it is a DIY space, it is a tinkerer's space, and therefore it needs some sort of programming, some sort of integration, some sort of setting up. And I don't think many people, the wives included, would care about that, would want to learn it. You buy a light switch, you wire it up, and it just turns on a light. You buy a Wi-Fi enabled light switch.
The Matter Holy Grail, Matter's going to come down the line and solve it all for us.
Apparently, yeah. I haven't looked into Matter myself, but it's got some promise. I mean, the Zigbee's fairly easy in terms of you hit the pairing button, a bit like a Bluetooth. You hit the pairing button, it finds it, and there it is. a little bit of setup behind the scenes for an automation in Home Assistant in particular. A lot of this stuff, standalone stuff, has got the app. Everything connects to the app, and then within that app on your phone, you say, when this happens, do that. And it's fairly simple. It's fairly drop down. It's all in its own ecosystem and stuff. Home Assistant is a bit more ubiquitous in terms of it will work with many different protocols and many different services and stuff. So it's a little bit confusing how you can get a Zigbee to turn on a Philips Hue through Home Assistant. So I think, yeah, if it gets to the fact that, I've got this button, I've got this light, I want this button to control that light, same as it does in the app, in the same ecosystem, then, yeah, maybe, I think possibly.
Is it going to take something, sorry to interrupt you, Dave, just a thought. So for me, the light bulb moment dropped with my brother and sister-in-law. They know the hobby. That hobby has been going for so long, and he's like, "Why are you always interested in home assistant stuff?" And last year, when I introduced him to smart thermostatic radiator valves, it was like the penny drop. Like, hold on a minute, we can turn off radiators in another room and have heating on, save ourselves energy. It's like straight away on all the Hive ones, and they've now got Hive TRV in every single room. Is it going to take something of that extent where it's so integral to how you live or your way of life that then you want it? Because at the moment, unless you're forced to do it, there's not really a need for people to get a smart home.
I think from my side, I think you need to take the pain away from when things go wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, like, if you think, right, how many people do actually understand how a home network works? Forget the internet, which might be more complex. Like the whole concept of IP addresses and what a router does, what an access point does. Like the average person hasn't got a clue of how it works. Like, I don't know really that well how an electric circuit works. I've got an idea, but I'm not that technical. But so people just use it, right? They're quite comfortable. They know they have to punch in a password for their Wi-Fi, and
that's it. Yeah, the only thing they want to know is the Wi-Fi password, and that's all they need to know most of the time. Yeah.
So look, like I really want to learn from these big commercial systems. We're not going to mention any, but like those big installers that charge even like 6 figures to get smart home stuff in a home. Yep. I would be super curious to understand how reliable that is, how better that is compared to Home Assistant, right? I would imagine someone paying that amount of money for like blinds and everything, that if anything went wrong, they would be, not happy.
Yeah.
There's one thing, Home Assistant at the end of the day, Raspberry Pi, it's a low investment. The software is free. There's so many free tutorials, right? You've got nothing to lose to try it. You just get a few light bulbs here and there, but like someone investing that amount of money in a new build, it must work, right? It must be like super reliable. If not, like they will be out of business.
It's got to be, yeah. And from an upgrade and maintenance point of view as well, that has to be a rock solid service, because if something goes wrong and someone else has installed it, then you want to make a phone call and say, oh yeah, my light's not coming on when I come home. I don't want to fix it. It's your installation. You come and fix it. So yeah, you need that infrastructure behind it as well, that maintenance side.
I just thinking like my boiler, my boiler breaks. I call someone in. Like 3 years, it's been fine. Then at a point, had a lot of problems with it. Call the plumber in, heating engineer, a bit of both, and it's fixed. And for a year, it's been fine. Like, you don't want to call someone every month. Oh, my door contact sensor's gone down, or my bulb stopped working, or my blind doesn't show on the dashboard anymore, or the system updating, nothing worked. I mean, that would be super annoying. Even if you had someone coming in and doing it for you, like a service and maintenance program, it'd still be super annoying. I think people will not be happy with it.
Is that the model that people would adopt to get it? I'm being devil's advocate. I agree with you, Craigie. To phone somebody because a door sensor's not working seems a bit over the top, but is it easier for somebody just to pay a company to come in, do a full install and leave, and therefore it's all taken care of? I don't know. I don't know whether that's the model that gets into the mainstream.
Yeah, but think of lights come on when the door opens or a motion sensor goes. They're just gonna go. Just gonna see the light doesn't turn on anymore. They say, hey, lights doesn't turn on anymore. Is it the bulb? Is it the sensor? Is it software bug? They might not know. They're just going to say the light's not turning on, or the door didn't open when I was supposed to open and I'm stuck outside the house.
Yep.
You know, that sort of stuff, I think, would be like a bit annoying.
Yeah.
Because a light bulb, everyone knows how to fix a light bulb, right? You unscrew it, you put it back up, you know, and you're good. And if there's a, you know, all the flipper switch, you know, switch has gone down, you just flip it up. If it keeps going down, call the electrician. You know what I mean? Like that's my troubleshooting, right? I tried to put it up once. If I still see, you know, sparks, then calls the electrician. You know, so.
I've just popped Insteon onto the screen. I don't know. Is Insteon one of the ones where you become a kind of an Insteon installer? Because that does exist, doesn't it? But it's kind of high-end consumers.
I thought Insteon closed down. Or they back up again?
I think they're back again.
There was some, because the Home Assistant integration, there was a break in change saying they're no longer connecting to their servers or something.
So I think they're back, but yeah, that booby aside, didn't Dave? I may be completely wrong, but there is that service already exists, doesn't it, for the high-end consumers, just to bring an Insteon type company in, give me the full install and leave, and I'll pay the subscription. But it's
carry on. Sorry.
No, you go.
No, but I was just about to say I have a very loyal subscriber which comments in many of the videos that when I have a product that's cloud only, or what I mean is that if it is relying on the cloud, in the sense if the manufacturer died, the product will be dead. That would be the case, right? So if an installer comes in, they'll probably be managing this through the cloud. There'll be some sort of way, and they'll have some sort of a license, you know. It will be all hardware that works with its own closed circuit. It's not going to be like, oh yeah, you can just buy it from Amazon or Ali and plug it in. They're probably not going to allow that. It's going to be something that's going to be quite closed. So, you know, you're relying that a company is going to be around in the next 5 years.
You're investing in that company.
Yeah.
And you're putting full trust into that company.
I just want to say that building in that banner, that's been used in so many adverts, that building. I've seen that particular shot in a few websites.
Yeah, but it's like a Hollywood mansion, right? I mean, this is not a normal home, especially not in the UK. This is not normal.
I think the lines they're the technology into the high-end residential homes. So
it's a hamster cage. How many windows do you need, for crying out loud?
Here's some,
no privacy at all.
Some business cases they've got, or case studies. Yeah, multi-room audio, home cinema adaptations, small securities. Yeah, so it does exist. You pay a high-end installer to come in and completely redo your home. The downside is, to your point, is you're hamstrung now. You're stuck with that organization for as long as you.
Yeah, I mean, if you had some people from these companies come on, I'll be like, yes. I mean, like, let's get them on. Let's have a debate. You know, DIY Home Assistant versus commercial.
Well, let's do that. I'll maybe reach out to Lux Smart Homes. And
just even just talking to people that have it installed and just understanding like how's their experience compared to ours, you know. And we're supposed to be the specialists, like, you know, we're like the content creators, we're like really into it. So
yeah, I mean, here you go. And sorry, apologies to those just listening to the audio only, but the Lux Smart website here's got a bit of a process for the partners they deal with when they're designing your home. So architects, interior designers, contractors, property developers. So they go the full hog of really just coming in and really doing your home over. I would love to know what they're using. Are they using Control 4 and Lutron? There you go. Control 4 and Lutron. Yeah, I put up Insteon. I meant to do Lutron. So it's you're buying into the top of the range, high end stuff.
Is that a wired system or wireless?
No idea.
Because that would be a lot of infrastructure if it was wireless.
I'm going to guess wired, because I think they are very much interconnected with like new build process.
Yep.
So where I live, there are a lot of new homes being built, and when I looked at the the website, the developer's website, there was like no option for smart home. I would think you build a house in 2022 or 2023, whenever they come out, and then there's going to be people that are going to really want this stuff. I mean, cinema room is very luxury, but like even just the basics, even just a wall panel, like we are all into our wall panels, having our tablet and just that. Even just having that, people love that. Even just an Android, box standard Android, wired into the hallway, people will pay a crazy amount of money for it, which maybe just £100 install.
Yeah.
So there's it's still not that mainstream to put it in as an option. There's the granite worktop, and there's all sorts of options for smart home. I haven't seen it yet.
It's not, isn't it? It's strange that it's not an option still.
Cat 6 everywhere.
Sorry, what was that, Dave?
I was going to say install Cat 6 everywhere.
Look, I 100% agree, Dave. But people will tell you Wi-Fi wired is pointless.
It's convenience, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's easy to set up. It's less drilling, it's less replastering, pulling cables, yeah.
Nowadays, developers want to just it's almost like an unfold house, stick the box up, plaster it, and get out. They don't want to be faffing and installing Cat 6, but you're absolutely bang on.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I enjoyed that. That was really good. Dave, kind of similar questions I asked Gio. They went off on a good tangent. I enjoyed that. But
I was going to say, you have to ask him again.
Sorry, you repeat that. So Dave, what home? Yep, you're running Home Assistant. Your Tinkerers galore.
Yep.
What couldn't you live without right now? So what's so inherent to your home that if we could take it away tomorrow, you'd be thinking,
I think there's two things that I enjoy the most. Oh, did we lose Gio?
I think just his camera.
He's had enough. He's gone. There's two things I enjoy the most. That's my Amazon devices, my voice assistants. I mean, that is used throughout the day, constantly. Oh, Gio's lost his. Got to get his charger. So yeah, there's that because I don't like touching light switches. If I have to get up and move to a light switch, then that's too much effort. I haven't got time for that stuff. But the main thing is one of my devices that I built, and that's my automatic curtains. I put a D1 Mini and a stepper motor on a curtain track. I've yet to do a tutorial because it's all, I was cutting aluminium, I was shaping bits of plastic and stuff to get it to work. So if I can find an off-the-shelf components, then I'll release the video. But that opens and closes my curtains at sunrise and sunset. It also, because I don't sleep that much, and I sleep funny hours, so it's always nice to have the curtains close automatically. And I tell my Amazon device I'm awake, and she'll open the curtains. I tell her I'm going to sleep, the curtains close. That it's a simple thing, the automatic curtains. But every time, big smile on my face when my Echo devices, I'm closing your curtains because it's sunset. I stop. I turn around, I look at my curtains, I see them closing, and every time, big smile on my face. It's just such a novelty, but I'm 2 feet away from my curtains. I could easily turn around and draw them. But I mean, my sister's house is about to get some automatic blinds. She doesn't really want curtains. She hasn't really got curtains in her house, but off-the-shelf components there. Just screw them to the wall, plug them into the mains. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth app on her phone. But in terms of what I really couldn't do without, it's definitely the voice assistant, and secondary the curtains, because voice assistant, I don't like touching light switches. If I have to get up, it's a chore. If I have to walk across the room, it's a bind. I could just go, she should not be named, close curtains, turn the light on, change the thermostat, whatever.
Would you ever go for Raspy, the local Home Assistant voice?
I saw Dr. Z's videos. He's done a few of those. I'm not too concerned about privacy and stuff going up to the cloud of things I say, or things that have been apparently spied upon by the Echo devices. So I'm not really bothered about local control. I think with the Amazon stuff, there's a whole infrastructure behind it, which you wouldn't get on a Raspberry Pi without constant updates, fixing. And like Gio says, if it doesn't work out the box and it needs updating, repairing, tinkering, it's not a mainstream thing. It's another DIY, it's another hobby thing. So whereas the Echo devices, I mean I've got Echo .2s, version 2s. Get them off of eBay, £18 to £20, brand new, when you can find them on Amazon, £25 to £29. It's set up for you. You can say, right, here's, connect it to my Wi-Fi. When you get it, it comes out the box. I mean, even the what are they called? The little square ones. They're called Flex. The Flex. Yeah, £9.99. Yeah. Not a very good speaker, but as a voice assistant, buying for the speaker,
you're buying for the convenience of having a voice assistant in the room you're in, which is great.
Exactly. Yeah, you get a little bit of feedback. Like I say, it's a really tiny little speaker, so it's not going to get a lot of volume. You're not going to play music through it, but it will hear you in the kitchen. Say, £9.99. It's set up for you. You've got the Amazon cloud services behind it, AI voice recognition. I mean, they're pretty good, these things. I mean, I've got fans running all the time. I've got noise in the background, and she'll pick me up from the other side of the room quite easily. I don't have to shout or talk in an American accent for her to understand. Although she does not understand soldering iron. She keeps trying to turn the sofa light on every time I say turn on soldering iron. But apart from that, they are fantastic. And I think even without Home Assistant, you can control a lot of those things with various other smart home products. So I think that would be that would be my biggest upset if I lost that.
I think that's the best answer, to be honest, because I would be exactly the same if I lost my Echoes. I don't understand, and I've put Mark Watt's channel because he did a live stream the other week. He's probably going to kill me because I've paused him right when he's looking like a right cheesy geezer. But Mark, in one of his live streams, did a Raspberry kind of live install.
I saw some of that, yeah.
Fuck that. I mean, honestly, it looked painful to try and get this thing up and running.
I mean, I saw Dr. Z's ones. Admittedly, I wasn't watching it live. I was watching it the next day on Fast Forward. But there seems to be a lot of, I mean, even the initial setup, he got the office lights working, I think. But there's intents that you had to set up. And it looked like, as far as I could tell, you had to set an intent up for every action and every device that you wanted it to recognize. It wouldn't just AI recognize office light or bedside light or whatever they're called in Home Assistant. So it seemed, as you say, a lot of work. It just seemed a lot of work. And again, as I say, it's a DIY, it's a tinkerer thing. I mean, it's something to do at the weekend.
Yeah, but for me, the tinkerer side comes into play when you're getting something. Yes, there's a novelty aspect, I get it, but for me, the tinkering, I think you're doing something that you can't get out the box. For something like Raspberry, maybe I'd love somebody to kind of come in and say, listen, it's purely tinkerers, it's the enjoyment of creating your own local voice assistant. But is there a genuine benefit of going local, something like Raspberry, when you've already got something like Alexa that's already...
Don't say the A word.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be people all over the internet going, oh my God, my light's just turned on. Yeah, I mean, with Raspberry, I don't know what it's called. It's that thing. Raspberry, right? Yeah. So it's customizable, unlike the Amazon devices. I mean, you can't really do a lot with that. Trigger words. I think Raspberry, you can add your own one. You have to teach it, but it's a short training session. The Echo devices, you've got 4 now. They've just added Ziggy as a trigger word. Yeah, I mean, convenience versus versatility or customization. It depends what you want to put if you want to put the time in or not. I think you could do a lot with Raspberry once you get your head around it. There's a lot of functionality there that you could tap into.
Yeah.
And of course, it's open source as well, so that PRs left, right, and centre, people are adding stuff all the time.
True. Sorry, Joe, you can say something?
No, just wanted to chip in and agree about the Echo devices and the reliability. Look, I'm gonna show you. I don't know if people that are listening probably not gonna see this. This is what I see when I try to access Home Assistant now. So I've been away from home, not home currently, and then I don't know, for some reason I just can't access it. I've tried many ways, but luckily, because I exposed, things are still happening because I get notifications of things that happen. So stuff is still running. For some reason, I'm not able to access it anymore. And, you know, my old course of action was to unplug, replug, but not being close to it, can't do it. But luckily, I'm able to use the, Amazon's app and the HomeKit app because I had them exposed. And I was still able to control stuff, still able to check stuff that, things like that happen. So yeah, it's a big lesson learned. I actually planning my first video back. I've taken a bit of a break from the channel. First, like lessons learned from staying away from the smart and trying to access it from outside, and what do I need to improve? Because I think that when you're in the home, you just
so is that the Home Assistant app you're trying to use and it's not working?
Yeah, we're not even like on the URL or and just to clarify, I'm paying for Nabucasa. I'm not doing any duck DNS or stuff like that. So straight, it should be the most reliable way, but it's something's just not.
So I did the exact same thing happened to me last night. I posted it on Twitter. I did whatever the latest update was on Twitter. Killed install, and the only thing that fixed it last night was I unplugged and replugged an Ethernet cable, and it fixed it.
Yeah. So it's like, if that happens, that's like difficult because I was thinking, like, how can we get to a point where we can even put it in our buddy's house, code to buddy's house with like, a few hours, template some stuff, put it in Home Assistant, put in a wall panel, put in some stuff like that, and just leave it there. You'll be constantly on the phone, but can you please
come and fix this door sensor?
It's just good, and I'm not even commercial. Commercially, it would be even worse, if you're charging for it.
For remote access for my setup, I mean, obviously, the Amazon app will still control my devices because they all come into Node-RED. So that's the internet's on my phone. When I'm on mobile data, the internet's obviously on my server, which the Home Assistant's connected to. But if I want to bring my control panel up, because I don't use Nabucasa because the main reason I'd have Nabucasa is to get my Amazon devices to my Amazon devices to control my Home Assistant devices. Well, I've got the Node-RED set up, so I don't need it. But I do have WireGuards because my Home Assistant is on a virtual machine on my server, so it's always on. It's a x86 processor. I've got WireGuard installed in a Docker in Unraid, which is the server software that I use. So via mobile data, I can connect to my home server through the internet using WireGuard, and it's like a VPN, personal VPN, back to my home. It's difficult to set up though. I mean, it took a few hours to get the damn thing to talk to each other. It's an option. There's no duck DNS. I could go Cloudflare for security and stuff, but I don't think I'm much of a hacker target at the moment. As the channel gets massive, as I get tens of thousands, people go, oh, that 380 looks like he's got a home system that I need to hack into and flicker his lights at 3 o'clock in the morning. But it's something that I will look into. Yeah, obviously the security aspect of it.
Yeah, I'm looking to relaunch the channel with a little bit of new mini series, and that's one thing I'm going to be touching upon. Like everyone before they actually think of smart home, really need to sort out their passwords and their
definitely.
That is because people can get into your cameras, anything you install, Nest or any product, and it's just people don't really understand password policies, and that's going to be a huge thing. Like I'm going to be really pushing that before you think of doing anything smart home related. You need to sort out your
secure
passwords.
your network. Yeah, you could do a Google search for IP cameras, and you can find some interesting views from open IP cameras, no password, exposed to the internet, 8080 port numbers. I mean, directly
It's ridiculous.
web server.
How
But
many
like
times?
even commercial stuff, like things like things like Nest or Ring, that people don't know anything about 8080 ports, right? They just buy it, they put a dummy stupid password in there, and then they complain when some guys speaking to their kid, through the mic.
Oh,
and that's my big concern I have for people, and will put people off. And if that happens to you, your missus will be like, all right, get out, and never ever again you're going to be having stuff like that in your home.
So that's an exclusive for the Smart Collective. Geo, breaking news, Geo's going to do a mini series on that. I should look forward to Geo.
I'm also going to try and teach people how to crack passwords to show them how easy it is.
I know that would be good.
People can realize that.
So
how vulnerable your passwords are. People don't realize how that. I know it's deviating from smart home, but it's very important.
It's funny you mention it. So it's between my brother and two nieces, the teenage age where the pals come into the house and they're straight away, can I get the Wi-Fi password? And they give all the Wi-Fi passwords out. And I said, have you changed your admin for the router? He's like, no. I said, just a bog standard BT or Sky router admin. He's like, yeah. I said, all it takes is that kid on your Wi-Fi. That's your gob, you're locked out. He never. So people just easily pass out their Wi-Fi passwords.
Guest network is key.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Guest network on a Wi-Fi will give you internet access, but not network access on that router. That's one thing. Like Gio said on the security side, I'm about to do an ESP home security because most of in fact, all my tutorials, to make them as easy as possible for people to copy and paste. I don't use an OTA password, and I don't use an AP password. So anybody can come onto my network, find a D1 Mini on my internet address, on my network address, and log into it because no password, and change it and update stuff. Of course, once you're in there, then you've got a route to Home Assistant, then you've got full access to everything else. So that's something I'm going to be pushing because security is getting a hot topic. There's lots of hacking going on. I mean, Plex got hacked the other day, so a load of password changes there. And I think LastPass, I saw something in the news, LastPass has got a little bit of a security issue as well. So although Plex are saying that no one got any credit card information, everybody please change password, log out of everything, change password. So,
Dean, I'm glad you reminded me because I got the email and I'm not changing my password yet.
Oh no, I saw that. I did come up on my watch and I'm thinking, right, okay, turn the computer on, log out of everything.
I need to
tablet, phone, media PC, main PC, laptop, everything, Chromebook, they all got changed.
Good shout.
Because once a hacker gets in to a single, it's the whole point of it. Most people will use the same password for everything. So if you get your Plex password, the chances are that's your email password, that's your network password, that's your Wi-Fi password, that's your bank account password.
In this day and age, if someone's doing that, help mend them because just.
Corridor Digital the other day, their channel got hacked. Their channel got taken over, and it was one person's phone whose email password was found. And that gave them access to forgotten password link. So they hacked into the email account on this guy's phone. They got a forgotten password for the channel, stripped all their videos out, and put one thing for a cryptocurrency scam. Their entire backlog of videos. Lucky enough, YouTube managed to restore them from backups, but they could have easily deleted every single video that Corridor Digital had on their channel. And of course, once that's gone, delete forever. That's a single entry point. So it's the same with everything. If you've got the same password for your email account as you have your bank account, then all someone's got to do is say, "Oh, I've forgotten my password for my bank account. Send it to this email address." And of course, the email address has been hacked. You're in everywhere else, though.
There's a scary story I saw on Netflix. And if it's inappropriate, you feel free to edit it out. But what happened was there's a story about this website where it's basically revenge. You know, someone takes a video, sensitive video of you, like you're a couple, and then they split up and they upload the videos they're not supposed to, right? What happened was someone did the video and they had it, because it's all syncing to the cloud, because someone hacked their cloud address. They were access, you know, sensitive photos of them or videos of them, and it was like ridiculous psychological harm. You know, because it's not education out there of like, you know, you have to sync into the cloud. Do you know what this means?
Yeah.
Right? What's the impact of having these in your hands? Even adults don't get it. So, you know, how do we teach our kids? How should school teach? You know, password management is like the must.
Well, you think that'd be part of the standard kind of computer, I don't know what they call it these days, computer science curriculum, you would think. Yeah.
And we're so bad at it. And we're so bad at it as humans. We hate it.
Yeah. And the thing is, it just takes a single point of entry, one bad password on one email account in your entire family or business, and your whole business is vulnerable, your whole family is vulnerable. So, yeah. I mean, plenty of celebrities have got their, was it iCloud photos and videos, frapping, I think they called it back in the day. Loads of videos out there of celebrities doing things that they wouldn't necessarily want the public to see, behind closed doors kind of stuff. And of course, once it's out there, it's very difficult to delete it because, you know, sites get replicated, files get downloaded, reshared. It's a nightmare. One download could be on the internet for years and could take many avenues to delete everything, every instance. And still, you're never going to get rid of it because people will save it onto their hard drives. So there's always going to be a copy somewhere.
On a happier note, let's segue through from this.
Luckily enough, all my IP cameras face outwards, and all the cameras that are on devices have got little bits.
That side doesn't have his camera on right now.
Little bits. All the cameras that are in. I was going to say all the cameras that are on devices. All the cameras that I've got on my devices got little bits of black tape over the lenses. I'm not paranoid much, but you never know.
Wow.
I can hear the tinfoil hat rustling.
You know, yeah, sometimes it gets quite hot here. You don't really want to get dressed every day. I don't need an IP camera following me around the room.
I'm conscious we're almost approaching the hour mark. It's absolutely flown by the fact we've been recording for an hour. One thing I did want to cover before we segue to the mystery questions is...
Oh, yes.
With summer months is the same every year. There's little devices being issued. I always feel over the summer months, smart news is pretty low. But the Sonoff NS panel has been shelled and flogged in every channel out there. Let me just ping. I don't know if one of you, well, Dave, I know you've got it because you did a wonderful video on it. But Gio, have you had to play a bit with NS panel?
No, I haven't.
I like it, but I don't know whether it's a novelty or whether this is actually legitimately good.
I think it is. I mean, a subscriber sent me one. I did an unboxing video and he sent me this NS panel. And I was that impressed with it because, you know, it's got ESP32 in it. And, you know, I'm thinking ESP32 in anything, it's almost like putting a D1 Mini in it. This is already made. It's got a touchscreen on it. I love ESP Home for programming stuff. I tried Tasmotor, but ESP Home gave me a few more options. So I went down that avenue. I was that impressed. I actually went out a week later and bought another one. I've got two now, one that a fan sent me and one that I bought. And yeah, I've done a couple of videos on setting up the graphics and recently done the coding. And I've got a few more other functions to add to it with other tutorials. But I'm thinking, again, it's a light switch. Essentially, I mean, it's a more sophisticated light switch. You've got two actual buttons and like a touch screens. I don't want to get up to control devices. Yeah, if I can't do it with a voice assistant or it's not automated, then there's no purpose for me. I want a smart home, not a remote control home. So, and of course,
where did you put it, Dave, in your home? You said you got two.
It's one's in the. I'm about to make a tutorial out of this box. And the other one is about to get a 3D printed stand so I can put it on my desk to do something similar to the Stream Deck. You know, the little Stream Deck buttons, Stream Deck panels with the 15 buttons. I'm thinking, because the Stream Deck is about, I think it's about 120, I think it's about 128 when I bought mine a few years back. An NS panel is 79, 80 odd pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, in dollars, it's about that price.
It's a bit, yeah.
So I'm thinking, because the new one they brought out, which is an Android, so you can't really do a lot with it with ESP Home. That comes with a case, so it makes it into a desk device. So I'm thinking, I've already built a frame for mine. So I'm thinking, fully encase a frame, run it off a 5-volt charger. It's Wi-Fi, so that's all you need. And then I can make myself a Stream Deck equivalent, which is not going to be as easily customizable, but I can add extra buttons. I'm stuck with 15 and different pages on a Stream Deck. But I'm thinking with an NS panel on my desk, I can do quite a bit with that. I don't really want it on the wall because that means, one, I've got to get up to push touch screen, push a button, or two, I've got to get up to look at the graphics because they're too small to see across the room.
Yeah.
A nice big 10-inch, 9-inch panel sitting on the wall, even an 8-inch, you could probably read across the room or sitting on the couch. These little things, I don't know, about 4 inches across. It's rectangle, but it's about 4 inches wide. You can't read those graphics from across the room, regardless how bright it is.
Is the display any good? When some of the review videos I've seen, it almost seems you have to really. It's not nice. It doesn't look very slick. It looks you almost have to really push the screen in to get a reaction from it.
They're quite easy to touch. Okay. They're quite easy to mistouch as well. I mean, you've only got to brush against it. I mean, it's quite sensitive.
Okay.
But again, I don't like touchscreens. I never have, even when the phone started getting them, because if you're doing something on a touchscreen, you're covering with your finger and your thumb what you're working on.
Yep.
So you can't see what you're doing because you get your thumb over the top of it. And it's the same with that. If you're using the slider, you're covering up the slider with your thumb. So you don't know that sometimes you can see the number, sometimes you're covering up the number of the value. So I think in a hallway, just inside of your front door, somewhere where you're going to be standing, somewhere where you're going to be walking past.
That's where I fancy it.
Yeah, that information would be handy. But in a lounge, in a bedroom, possibly in the kitchen would be okay. But anywhere where you're sitting down that you have to get up, walk over to it to read what's on it, or push a button, then I think it's less convenient to have something like that. Bigger panel, if you can read it across the room, you can see your stats, you can see if the kids' lights are on or whatever, if the window's open or a device that you want to keep a check of, or even a graph or something. NS panel, I think it's a little too small to not be in front of to be useful.
So if you're a Home Assistant user, right, and you want to, if I get this in, what do I need to do? Like to get it, like to control lights or something?
You've got two options.
What's the easiest course of, Yeah,
there's two options. It's the way they work is you've got an ESP32 chip, which we're all familiar with, and then you've got a Nexion panel, which has got its own processor and memory. So you've got two things to program on these devices. You've got the ESP32 itself, and then you've got the graphics, which are stored on the panel's internal memory. And some of the Nexion displays come with an SD card that you put your graphics on. So what you have to do is, if you want to make your own graphics, you have to do that in a video editor, a photo editor like Photoshop, which I showed in my tutorial. Upload those graphics to the panel itself. Then the panel itself will give you inputs and outputs from touchscreen and updates to the screen, which you then program into the ESP32 chip. And then obviously the ESP32 via ESP Home will connect to Home Assistant. So you can control the panels, you can pick up the touches. Out of the box, it comes with its own graphics from Sonoff. So you've got, I think you've got the time, the day, temperature, because it's got its own internal temperature sensor. There's a thermostat on there as well. You can flash the ESP32 with a TAS motor build. That is already pre-programmed for all the stuff that the Nexion panel comes with. So the easiest way to do it, unless you want to go with the EB Link app, to connect that to Home Assistant, and again, that's cloud. You can flash the device with Tasmota, keep the existing graphics that's on the Nexion screen, and then just pretty much use it out of the box, connected to Home Assistant via Tasmota software.
I think that's the option I will go down because it's the less technical.
Yeah, you're stuck with the graphics and the commands. Out of the box with its own software, I mean, it hasn't been for ages. You could download different things that you could add to the panel via the iWii Link software on your phone. There hasn't been a lot of updates. I mean, I don't check it anymore because mine are reflashed, but there's other stuff that you can get in the US market, and obviously in China, there's different add-ons you can just install on your phone. It updates the panel. If you want to customize it any more than what you're getting with the factory firmware, then you have to make your own graphics. You have to add extra pages, program that into ESP Home. I don't think you can do it in Tasmota without someone else doing a PR and adding those things in. But then again, it's custom, so it's regardless of what you want to do. So out of the box, you can use it with Home Assistant. You can keep the iWii Link and therefore cloud-based. You can flash it with Tasmota to make it local, or if you really want to go to town, then make your own graphics and then ESP Home the firmware and connect it to Home Assistant. But either way, all three flavors, you can get it into Home Assistant in some form or other.
I do fancy one. Gio's sparked your interest.
It has. I think watch this space. I think there's become people coming out with stuff similar to this. It's cool. It's going to be a cool use case. I don't know if Home Assistant themselves are like branching heavy. Well, they've been branching heavy into hardware, right? They've launched their own hub. They've got ESP, right? So that's like, will they go into that and build something that is going to be like out of the box, connect to your Home Assistant, and you can create a mini Lovelace dashboard that you can then, it's for the little.
You can kind of do that with a Raspberry Pi. You can put a touchscreen on a Raspberry Pi, put that in your wall, connect it via Wi-Fi or Ethernet cable, and then obviously that's got a browser on it. I mean, it's obviously Unix based, but you can get a browser on that, so you can make a dashboard in Home Assistant. On the Raspberry Pi, log in with a username and passwords that are separate from your admin account, and only serve a particular dashboard to that Pi. So, I mean, that's probably what's a Pi these days? Pi 3, Pi 4, you're looking at about 30, 40 pounds.
If you can get your hands on one.
If you can get your hands on one, yeah, exactly. Touchscreen, probably 10, 15, 20 pounds. 3D printed case, wall mount, recess box, Ethernet cable, power supply. So you could probably do it for about 60, 70 pounds. Yeah. And you can get different types touchscreens.
Then you could argue, right? You can get just a tablet, Fire tablet.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you do the same, and you have a bigger screen, and you have a Fire tablet. That if you don't want to use it anymore, you're gonna use it as a Fire tablet. Right? So that is that's why I'm like, if it's that small, right? It's got I don't know. And also the design is difficult to get it right. That it's super useful. Like you say.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, yeah.
Use it.
Off the shelf tablet, Fire tablet, Android tablet is a lot easier for control panel on the wall. Yeah. I mean, in terms of NS panel equivalents, then Pi with a touchscreen is the nearest thing you could get off the shelf, I guess.
Yeah. I've had several guests coming over for long periods of time since I had the wall mounted tablet, and I have to say they're very intimidated by it. They look at it,
really,
they say it was cool, but no one ever wants to touch it. They're something scared something's going to happen, and
there is that.
Thinking, is it a poor design? I see this button. It's like the shape of a loo. What is that? Oh, it turns the loo lights on. Ah, really? Ah, okay, cool. What is this with the, garage door? Oh, this opens the garage door. Oh, really? Okay. But then that's it. They're like 2 meters back. They're like the COVID distance, right? They're keeping this distance from this tablet. They just don't want to, okay, let me just and try it. But if I give someone a tab,
I guess if you're not used to the
This feels a bit
technology,
hesitant.
it could be intimidating. I mean, a light switch, everybody's used to a light switch. Everybody's used to a light switch. You know what a light switch on the wall in the bathroom is going to do.
Yeah.
Whereas a tablet with an icon of a bathroom, you're not quite sure if it's going to flush the toilet, turn the shower off, put the heating on, or whatever.
That's a good point.
So,
What is it going to do, right? I mean, I'm going to break something in this guy's eye. I'm missing him. I'm breaking something and then be touching stuff.
I've got the same
maybe
problem
a
with
smaller screen. Yeah. So no, I was just saying maybe a smaller screen would be less intimidating with fewer buttons.
Yeah, I mean, a smaller screen per room, say, like the NS panel, it's kind of obvious what the toilet button does. I've got the same problem with 3D software. The software I use, Lightwave, it doesn't have icons. All the buttons are worded. As Lee frozen over that was very happy. Yeah, so the software I use, all the buttons are worded. So there's no ambiguation about what that button does, what that icon represents. I mean, I say to people, I've learned 26 icons. It's the alphabet. It gives me everything I need to know. Learning new bits of software with new icons, they'll come up with their own icons. MDI icons are nice. It's kind of ubiquitous across Home Assistant. So, yeah, you can kind of get used to it. But, I like words. I like things that are obvious. And especially someone, as you say, a noob coming in and seeing a control panel with all those buttons on that's controlling pretty much the entire house from a single point, then, it can be a bit worrying, a bit intimidating. Oh, if I press this, is the boiler going to explode, or am I going to flood the bathroom or something? Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on with my camera. It's just stopped working for some reason.
Oh dear.
But
it's obviously.
Do you want us to pause then?
No, you're fine. We'll just crack on now. We're going to wrap up shortly. Anyway.
We could continue. Yeah. So
Lee, have you tried turning it off and back on again?
There's a show on Netflix with a bee. I've got a name. There's a bee and there's Rowan Atkinson in it.
It's brilliant. I've seen it.
He's in this sort of smart home, right? Go and watch that because it'll make you laugh about his struggle with trying to understand how the house works.
It's a fantastic movie.
It's funny, but it's very linked to what we're talking about.
I'll have to look out for that.
Check it out. Isn't it called Bee versus Man?
It is. It is on Netflix. Very interesting.
Yeah, really good. Okay, that's good. Now I'm 10 into it. Before we wrap up the section that everybody seems to love the most, mystery questions.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I need to get a bit of an audio drum roll going. So I've got a question for each of you. The rules are you have approximately 30 seconds. I'm now going to keep it roughly 30 seconds to give me your best answer possible.
Countdown timer.
I'm going to pit you against one another. All right.
Oh.
I'm going to ask you a question about Dave. And Dave, I'm going to ask you a question about Gio.
Oh, okay.
As you want. This is almost like the game show where you can hurl abuse at your opponents. Don't take offence.
Mr. and Mr.
So, Gio, I'll start with you. So, one thing I found when I started first watching Dave's channel, Dave, do you vape or do you smoke? What one is it?
Are you asking me or Gio?
I'm asking you. Are you a vaper or a smoker?
Oh, I'm a smoker. I tried vaping for a year. Wasn't getting satisfied, so I went back to smoking.
One thing I always found with Dave's channel is when he's doing this thing, you hear this kind of big puff and then it's like. So my question to you, Gio, is
I'll tell you what that is, Lee. I'll tell you what that is.
Yep.
That's my noise cancelling software. Not recognizing if it's a voice or one of my fans in the background. Look, check this out. I'll give you a demo. Okay. I've got fans running at the moment. You can't hear it.
Okay.
But if I turn my noise cancelling off, hear that?
Yep, hear that, yep.
And if I turn it back on again, completely disappears. Now, sometimes it gets confused with the tones in my voice that match similar to the white noise that's coming out of the fans. So you get this, and if I turn my big fan on, there's a big hum after I stop talking every time. I do edit. I do breathe a little bit heavy. I've done a live stream of me doing some VR sculpting. And of course, I'm sitting back, I've got a VR headset on, my arms are waving all over the place in the air because I'm getting out of breath. Because I'm trying to talk, I'm trying to narrate, and get stuff done. People say, "Oh, David, you should stop smoking because you're huffing and puffing like an old man." I'm going, I've just cycled home. I'm on a VR headset and I'm waving my arms about like a lunatic. Yes, of course I'm out of breath. Anybody would
I
be.
think
But
huffing and puffing adds something to the channel. That's the context of this question. So, Gio, to you, tell us why Dave should start an ASMR channel where all he does is smokes in front of the camera.
Well, I think he absolutely should, and he will finally get that picture dream house that we can see on every brochure or on every sales page, and the beautiful big glasses, right? And finally, he can move those noisy fans somewhere else, so he doesn't need the noise cancelling software. So he should do it for sure. You'll have a big following.
Brilliant. I'll put that
Love
one. Fantastic, Gio. Okay, and Dave, for you, question about Gio. Funnily enough, this question is about the title of Gio's channel, and the fact you mentioned the story about when this channel started, Gio, is even funnier. So, Dave, tell Gio why he really needs to rename the channel to Smart Home Baker.
Smart Home Baker. Oh, okay. I think you could start a patisserie with smart home devices covered in icing sugar and little fancy hundreds and thousands. And I think you'd appeal more to the wife approval factor, the WAF, I believe it's called. So you can get more women on board if you start a bakery.
I love it. Not sexist at all. I love it.
Well, no, it's equal opportunities. I think getting every technology wants to get more women on board because there's not enough women in technology, there's not enough women in science and doing not the important jobs, but a fair crack at the whip for females in society. They've been suppressed for far too long. There should be more opportunities for them, and Gio could be the figurehead for that, for Home Assistant.
There you go, Gio. No only you're Smart Home Baker, you're actually leading the front for women's independence.
You've got no excuse now, Gio. Get the wife on board first and do a bit of Gio and the wife in the kitchen doing smart home stuff.
All right, we'll think about it. I don't know if what will burn first, the Raspberry Pi or the oven. I don't know. I need to check the temperatures to see how resilient they're going to be in the oven.
Guys, brilliant. I was struggling to pick a winner there, but absolutely fantastic. If you've listened to this,
everyone's a winner.
Everyone's a winner. Guys, thanks very much for your time. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Anything else you want to
It's
plug
been fantastic.
Wrap up?
Yeah, youtube.com/3atif. I do manual-based step-by-step guides for tinkering and a little bit of Home Assistant, a little bit of Node-RED, but it's mainly what can I put a D1 Mini in next.
I know, I'll stick a link in the description box as well on the channel.
Cool. Appreciate that.
Well, my channel is going to try to do the best to get people to the point where they have that control for dream smart home without really going crazy with the tinkering, but still with all the benefits of Home Assistant, right? So it's a terribly difficult challenge, but I'll try and do my best. And I've also got a membership platform for those that really enjoy my voice and longer format videos where they can watch some of the courses and just take a bit longer, because I have a lot of people telling me that the videos are edited too quickly because the YouTube algorithm, and they need to keep going, and you need to assume people know stuff, where there's a demand for this long content version, but they're not really good on YouTube. So check the courses platform also.
I find myself talking way too fast on my videos as well.
Brilliant. Guys, thank you very much, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Cheers.
Cheers for inviting us, Lee. It's been an absolute riot.
Thanks very much. And guys, don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and tickle that bell for notifications of when a new video goes live. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.